fifth grade Cougars, Mrs. Belatesh here, and now we're going to talk about why the moon seems to change its shape. So let's talk about the process of how that happens. So in our solar system, and looking just directly at the Earth and the moon and the sun system, we've got the sun. The sun gives us light. Light travels in a straight line called a ray. Here's the Earth. The Earth orbits the sun or revolves around the sun. Here's the moon. The moon orbits or revolves around the Earth. And as that happens, we see different amounts of light reflected into our eyes when the moon is in different positions. The moon has specific names. We've given names to each phase of the moon. When it is sun, moon, Earth, we are looking at the moon and it is new moon. We see a shadow. And as the moon tends to get bigger, it's called a waxing crescent. First quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, and now it's going to get smaller, waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent. So waxing means to get bigger, so the light gets bigger, and waning means to get smaller, so the light appears to get smaller. So waxing moon, waning moon. But why is this called first quarter and that's called third quarter? Well, it's because if you took this circle and divided it into fourths or quarters, this would be the end of the first quarter. This would be the end of the third quarter. So if you looked at just quarters, it would be new moon, first quarter, full moon, third quarter, and back to new moon. Okay, so now we know the names of the phases. I'm going to show you a model, and then I'm going to actually illustrate for you how the light changes on the surface of the moon and how it appears that the moon is changing its shape. Okay, so just like what I have on the board, I have the sun, I have the moon, and I have the Earth. And as the moon orbits the Earth, different amounts of light from the sun are reflected off of the surface of the moon, and we see it appears to have different shapes. So this is new moon. Then this is a waxing crescent. Waxing means to get bigger. This is first quarter, and it would look like a half moon. This is a waxing gibbous. It's almost a full moon. This would be full moon. Now the light is going to get smaller. It is a waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent, and back to new moon. So all of that is happening while the Earth is orbiting the sun. It's quite an amazing dance. Now let's take a look at actually how you can see the light changing on the moon. So Cougars, we now know the names of the moon phases. We know that it's new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent, and back to new moon. But now I want to figure out why the moon appears to change its shape. And to do that, we're going to use a little model. So this light bulb here is going to represent the sun. The sun gives us light and heat. My head is going to represent the Earth. And this ball is going to represent the moon. Now, light and dark, light and shadow. Do you see that half of the moon is lit up with light and half of the moon is in a shadow? That's what happens all the time. The moon is always half light, half shadow. But we don't always get to see it from where we are on Earth. So I'm going to do a little experiment that helps you see the different phases of the moon and why we see them on Earth. Okay, so boys and girls, so first of all, there's the sun, very bright, and I'm going to put the moon in front of it. Oh, look at that. Now, when I look at the moon and it's sun, moon, and then my head is the earth, I only see the back of the moon. The moon is in a shadow, and it is called new moon. Now the moon is going to start to orbit the earth, and when that happens, it's starting to reflect some of the light. And from Earth, I see a crescent moon. Now, as the moon continues to orbit the Earth, from Earth, we see that the moon is half light, half shadow. And that is called first quarter. Now I'm going to keep turning, and it looks like it's almost a full moon. It's not a full moon yet, but it's getting to be a full moon. We call that a gibbous moon. Now I'm going to go to a full moon. Now the moon is fully lit up. Full moon. Now the moon continues to orbit, and it's starting to get a little smaller. We call that a waning gibbous. Now we're back to a half moon, third quarter, and then we see a crescent moon, waning crescent, and we're back to new moon. So it goes new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent, new moon. Okay, so boys and girls, now we are going to talk about the phases of the moon using Oreo cookies. And what I did is I got a used toilet paper tube, just a tube, and I made 8 circles here in a circle, 8 circles in a circle. And now I'm going to take an Oreo cookie and I am going to break it apart. Okay, this one I had done already. So now I have 2 cookies. One cookie I'm going to flip over, and it's going to be new moon. The other cookie I'm going to put at the other end, and it's going to be full moon. So new moon, full moon. Now I'm going to take another cookie, and I had already separated it. And what I did is I used a knife and I scraped the frosting off, and I made a crescent here. So that's a crescent moon, and then this is a gibbous moon, and the frosting, the light has to be on the same side. Okay, so I have new moon, waxing, crescent, waxing gibbous, and full moon. All right, let's keep going. I have another cookie, and oh, this one's a little cracked. It's okay, it doesn't matter. I'm going to cut the frosting in half, and I'm going to put it on this cookie, and I'm going to put it over here. So now I have new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, third quarter. All right, next cookie. Very slowly, carefully take it off. Okay, that's a bummer. I'm going to scrape this frosting into a crescent. It's a little art project. Okay, this one is going to be a crescent over here, and I'm going to scrape this one so that it is a gibbous. The cookie's a little cracked. That's okay. It still works. I'll add a little bit more of this frosting here. Remember, the surface of the moon is full of craters, so it's okay. Pull this off. All right, so now we have the phases of the moon in Oreo cookies. New moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent, new moon. Okay, so the Earth would be here in the middle. This is the moon orbiting the Earth, and different amounts of light are reflected into our eyes, just like the experiment we showed. All right, and guess what? Now I'm going to eat it. Oh, delicious. I love a delicious science experiment.